Hey everyone, my name is Matthias and I'm part of the UNIFY Gather team. Today we'll be going over the budgeting basics module. Before we get started, I just want to mention that everything I'll be covering today will also be available on our app, available on the App Store right now. With that being said, let's get right into it. So let's take a look at our agenda. First, we'll be going over budgeting overview, then we'll be talking about income, expenses, and goal setting. Then we'll be budget methods and categories. Then we'll end off with talking about savings, interest, and debt. So our first module would be budgeting overview. So what is budgeting? Budgeting is making a plan for how you'll basically spend and save money. So this requires you to map out your income in relation to your expenses over the same period of time, usually typically on a monthly basis. When done effectively, you can prevent overspending and prepare for your current and future financial needs. Now, budgeting helps you track income and expenses, prevent overspending, build savings and emergency funds, and reach financial goals. Now, let's take a look at the key terms that you'll need to know before going into the lesson today. So first would be income, which is the money you earn or receive from your, such as a salary from your job, a paycheck. Expenses, money you'll spend. Savings, money you set aside for the future. Emergency fund, money for unexpected costs. Debt, which is borrowed money that must be repaid. Interest, cost of borrowing slash reward for saving. And we'll be talking about fixed and variable expenses. Fixed would be rent, the same amount you have to pay over perhaps every month. And variable, example, groceries, it depends on how much you buy. Now, let's get into income, expenses, and goal setting. So, basically, this section explains how to identify your income, categorize expenses, and set meaningful financial goals. Some topics we'll be going over would be determining your monthly income, understanding needs versus wants, comparing income with expenses, and setting smart financial goals. Now, determining your income. So, income is money you earn or receive regularly. It can come from employment, government benefits, financial assistance, or perhaps investments or interest. To calculate your monthly income, you need to total all sources of income you expect to receive during that month. Now, understanding expenses. So, your expenses are the cost of your living. There are needs, which are essential for survival and stability. Some examples include housing, food, utilities, transportation, minimum debt payments, or wants, non-essential but enjoyable things, such as dining out with your friends, entertainment, vacations, or Netflix subscriptions. Now, let's compare income versus expenses. So, comparing monthly income to expenses basically helps you understand your financial standing. Are you overspending? Are you saving enough? Or where can adjustments can be made? By carefully examining your monthly income and expenses, you start to identify areas where adjustments might be needed. So these insights will help guide your decisions on how to manage your spending and increase savings. Keep in mind, a healthy budget covers needs first. Then you allocate money for savings and only then spend on wants. Let's talk about goal setting in budgeting. So budgeting is most effective when connected to your goals by having a clear and specific vision guides practical financial planning. Avoid vague goals like, I want to save money. So let's structure our goals like this, by using the SMART framework. First, the S stands for specific. Clearly define the goal. Then measurable. Include a way to track the process of this goal. Then being achievable. Make sure it is realistic. And make sure that it's also relevant. Ensure it matters to your current situation. And lastly, make sure it's time-based. Set a deadline. For example, instead of I want to save more, try I will save $1,200 in 4 months to buy a laptop by reducing dining out and working extra shifts. Now, creating your own SMART goal. Using the SMART framework, write down your own financial goal. This can relate to saving, budgeting, or managing expenses. I'll let you take a moment to write that down. Okay. So, here's a quick check for you. What are the two main categories of expenses? Is it A, income and wants, B, saving and debt, C, needs and wants, or D, investments and taxes. I'll give you a moment to select the correct option. Okay, if you picked needs and wants, you are correct. Now moving on to our next section here, it'll be budgeting methods and categories. So just a quick overview, this section covers different budgeting categories and introduces popular budgeting methods to help structure financial planning. Some of the areas we'll be covering would be needs, wants, and saving categories, the 50-30-20 rule, zero-based budgeting, as well as the pay yourself first method. First, let's understand the budgeting categories. So budgeting becomes easier when you group your spending into three categories. First one would be needs, such as essential for basic living, costs you cannot avoid, and they generally take priority in your budget. Example would be rent, food, transportation, healthcare, or even debt repayment. Next would be wants. Enhance your lifestyle but are not essential. Items or services you choose to spend money on for enjoyment or convenience, but they are not required for day-to-day living. Examples would be eating out, streaming services, vacations. Last that category would be savings. Savings support your financial future in emergency and provides a safety net for unexpected events. Examples would be emergency fund, retirement, or investments. By dividing your spendings into needs, wants, and savings, you can prioritize essential costs, identify areas where you can cut back, and ensure that you are saving for the future. Understanding these categories and how to allocate your income within them helps you make informed decisions about where your money goes, while also providing flexibility to adapt when unexpected expenses arise. Now, choosing a budgeting method. Selecting the right budgeting method helps structure how you track and allocate your money. Some methods include the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% goes to needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes to savings/debt repayment. This rule is the best for beginners. Next rule would be the zero-based budgeting. So every dollar has a purpose in this rule. Next would be the pay yourself first method. So by prioritizing savings before other expenses such as wants. Now, just a quick check. Which budgeting method allocates 50% of your income to needs, 30% of income to needs? Sorry, 50% of your income to needs, 30% of your income to wants, and 20% to savings or debt. I'll give you a moment to select an option. If you chose the 50-30-20 rule, you are correct. Now, building your first budget. To build your first budget, follow these core steps. First, write down your total monthly income after tax. Then you want to list all fixed monthly expenses. Subtract fixed expenses from income. Then finally, allocate the remaining amount using your chosen budgeting method. So here's a step-by-step breakdown. Write down your monthly after-tax income, including all income sources. List your fixed monthly expenses, then subtract expenses from income and determine what is left or if you are overspending. Then allocate remaining money into needs, wants, and savings. Here's another quick check for you. What is the first step in creating a budget? Allocate savings, subtract expenses, write down your monthly after-tax income, or divide money into categories. Give you a quick moment to select an option. If you chose C, you are correct. Your first step should be writing down your monthly after-tax income. Now, moving on to savings, interest, and debt. So this section explains how saving works, why interest matters, and how debt affects your finances. Some topics we'll be covering will be emergency funds, type of saving accounts, simple versus compound interest, as well as debt and credit health. So let's first talk about emergency funds. Emergency fund is money you set aside for unexpected expenses. It helps you avoid relying on loans or credit cards during emergencies. You should start with 1 to 3 months of essential expenses and build up to 3 to 6 months. You want to keep this fund in a separate account and consider automating deposits. Now, here are some types of saving accounts. Standard savings, which is easy to access and modest interest. There's a high interest savings account, also known as HISA. It has a higher interest rate, but you may have limits. And next one would be tax-free savings account, your TFSA, which allows you to have tax-free growth, but however, you must stay within contribution limits. The last one would be youth/student accounts. These are designed for younger individuals, may include fee waivers or higher interest though. Now, let's look at simple versus compound interest. Simple interest basically is when you earn interest only on the original deposit. Compound interest, you earn interest on the original deposit and previously earned interest. This method leads to faster growth over time. Overall, compound interest grows your savings faster due to accumulating interest. Now let's talk about debt basics. So, most Canadians experience some form of debt in their lifetime. Common debt types include mortgages, student loans, credit cards, and other loans. Understanding how debt works helps you stay in control of your financial future. And missed or late payments negatively affect your credit score. So understanding debt is super important. Now, how do you manage your debt effectively? Some strategies include pay high interest debt first, automate payments to avoid late fees, track total amounts owing regularly. But understanding managing debt is essential for future financial opportunities such as renting, loans, or even credit cards. Here's a quick check for you. Which type of interest grows your money faster over time? Is it A, simple interest, B, compound interest, C, no interest, or D, neither? I'll give you a moment to choose an option. If you chose B, compound interest, you're correct. Now that pretty much wraps up our module. Please follow our social media at Instagram, unifysocial.ca, Facebook, UNIFY Social, and Eventbrite, UNIFY, to get the latest updates on everything we offer and everything that's happening with UNIFY. But thank you very much for joining our lesson today. I hope you learned a lot and looking forward to seeing you at the next one. Bye.